In tonight's headlines, Donald Trump declares victory in the U.S. presidential race, securing 277 electoral votes, while the Republicans also regain control of the Senate. Shares in Hong Kong plummet over concerns that U.S.-China trade tensions will escalate. And reactions from around the world begin to flood in as Trump claims victory.
So I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president.
Donald Trump has been elected the 47th president of the United States with 277 electoral college votes won, marking an extraordinary comeback for the former president, who was convicted of felony charges and survived 2 assassination attempts. Pulling an old trick, Trump prematurely announced his victory when addressing his voters in Florida, referring to his win a historic realignment.
They came from all corners, union, non-union, African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, Arab American, Muslim American. We had everybody, and it was beautiful. It was a historic realignment, uniting citizens of all backgrounds around a common core of common sense. You know, we're the party of common sense.
While an earlier win over battleground states of Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia almost assured his seat in the Oval Office, a later win in swing state Wisconsin gave him a solid push over the 270 threshold needed to clinch the presidency. Michigan, Nevada, and Arizona have not finished the vote count, but provisionary data still indicate a lead by Trump. Meanwhile, Democrat Harris has yet commented on Trump's near-sure victory. Her campaign co-chair, Cedric Richmond, told the audience gathered at what was planned to be Democratic nominees' election night party at Howard University that Harris would not speak on Tuesday night. Despite victory claimed, the exact final results are expected to take days before being fully announced due to the complexity involved in counting ballots, especially mail-in votes. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
In the latest update on the United States congressional elections, the Republicans have regained 2-year control of the Senate for the first time in 4 years, while the race for the House remains highly competitive. Out of the 100 seats in the Senate, 34 were up for election. As of 7 p.m. Hong Kong time, the Republicans have successfully secured 51 seats, reclaiming control of the Senate. This allows the Grand Old Party to confirm the next president's cabinet and the Supreme Court justice. The Democrats now hold 41 seats in the Senate, and 1 seat has been taken by an independent candidate. As for the House of Representatives, all 435 seats were up for re-election. 197 seats were captured by the Republicans, while the Democrats have secured 179 seats. To control the House, a party must win 218 seats, leaving the battle for control open and intense as votes continue to be counted.
Shares in Hong Kong ended their 3-day winning streak as U.S. Republican presidential candidate and former President Donald Trump was assumed to return to the White House, sparking concerns over U.S.-China relations. The Hang Seng Index plummeted 645 points to as low as 20,361 points in the early hours, almost erasing all the gains in the previous 3 days. At close, the benchmark index dived 468 points or 2.2% to 20,538 points, breaching the 21,000 mark. Market turnover hit $216.8 billion, the most since October 21st. Technology stocks retreated, with Alibaba closed down over 4% and Meituan down more than 2%. Xiaomi and Tencent both dropped more than 1%. Bitcoin ETFs hitchhiked on Bitcoin's rally to record high, with CSOP and Samsung Bitcoin ETFs surging more than 7%. gold price plummets to a multi-week low as the US dollar surges to a 4-month high, waiting on the share price of gold miners, with Zhaojin down over 4%, while Jijin and Shandong Gold receded over 3%. Meanwhile, Chinese yuan recorded a sharp fall amid rising uncertainty of an escalation in US-China trade tensions. The offshore yuan on Wednesday had at one stage fallen by more than 900 basis points against the US dollar, dropping below the 7.19 mark before regaining some ground. Best Learn Cable News.
As Donald Trump neared victory in the presidential election before officially elected, countries weighed in with their reactions. In Beijing, the foreign ministry addressed whether they would send congratulations if Donald Trump wins the election. Spokesperson Mao Ning stated they would follow established protocols and emphasize their consistent approach facing the U.S., focusing on mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation in U.S.-China relations. Meanwhile, several countries have already congratulated Trump on a potential second term. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu described it as a new beginning for the U.S., highlighting the strengthening of the alliance between the two nations. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky expressed his appreciation for Trump's commitment to achieving peace through strength, believing it would lead to justice and tranquility for Ukraine. French President Emmanuel Macron noted that he and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz are prepared to work with Trump, signaling a readiness for collaboration. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte remarked on Trump's strong leadership during his first term, stating that his return to leadership would be crucial for maintaining a robust alliance. He expressed hope that Trump would use NATO's strength to promote peace.
Police have arrested 275 individuals in the past month suspected of defrauding the Social Welfare Department of a total of $40 million in traffic accident victims' assistance. Authorities have seized various pieces of evidence, including medical receipts, sick leave certificates, SIM cards, and bank cards. The investigation involves over 120 traffic accidents that primarily took place between March last year and April this year, with the suspects aged between 18 and 64 years old. Among those arrested, some belong to fraudulent syndicates that staged multiple traffic accidents and forged medical documents to claim compensation from the Social Welfare Department. The largest single case involved a fraudulent claim of $700,000. Where one syndicate deliberately arranged for private cars to collide with double-decker buses, with the complices posing as bus passengers. According to the police, the operation is ongoing and further arrests may be expected.
As the government is set to discuss tightening well-off public housing tenants' policies, the city's housing director stated that well-off tenants should not be equated with public housing abusers, emphasizing that the key focus of the discussion should be on the appropriate amount of rent increases. Taking to the airwaves, Director of Housing Rosanna Law explained that raising additional rent to levels comparable to the private market aims to encourage tenants who can afford it to consider buying or renting private properties. However, she stressed the need for a reasonable and fair range for such increases. She also noted that moving over 40,000 well-off households to private housing is not a viable solution, as it could disrupt the overall housing market. Regarding the forthcoming $3,000 reward for reporting public housing abuse, Law revealed that last year, the reporting mechanism was 3 times more effective at identifying abusers compared to checks with land registry data, highlighting the efficiency of this method in combating the issue. Meanwhile, speaking to iCable News, lawmaker Scott Learn stated that the emergence of well-off households indicates that these residents have moved from grassroots status to having some savings, reflecting the original purpose of public housing. Learn suggested not to tighten the income requirements for affluent households, as doing so could disrupt their life courses. He also proposed a savings plan to help these households set aside additional rent for purchasing subsidized housing and achieving upward mobility. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
Hong Kongers are told to brace for another typhoon towards the weekend, as tropical cyclone Ying-Xing is expected to enter within 800 kilometers of the city between tomorrow night and Friday morning. Ying-Xing, meaning the plant ginkgo in Chinese, is expected to move westwards across the northern part of the South China Sea after skirting Hong Kong, the observatory said. While the circulation of Ying-Xing is relatively small, under the combined effect of a northeast monsoon and Ying-Xing, it will be windy over the waters and high ground of the coast of southern China over the weekend. The weather forecaster will assess the need of issuing the standby signal number 1 later Friday to early Saturday, depending on the distance between Ying-Xing and the Pearl River estuary, its change in intensity, and the change in local wind conditions.
The North Korean troops have reportedly engaged in their first fighting with Ukrainian forces, which marks Pyongyang's official and direct involvement in Europe's largest conflict since World War II, a senior Ukrainian official said Tuesday. The North Korean soldiers were seen mingled with Russian troops wearing the same combat uniforms when they engaged with Ukrainian forces at the Kursk region. Ukraine's defense minister Rustem Umerov told South Korea's state broadcaster KBS. The engagement was limited and likely meant to probe the Ukrainian lies for weaknesses, the official said, without disclosing specific details on timing or casualties. Another unnamed Kyiv official said they have fired artillery at North Korean soldiers, but neither claim could be independently confirmed. The development followed Pyongyang's deployment of what Kyiv and Western officials estimate to be a contingent of about 10,000 soldiers to bolster Moscow's efforts to reclaim its Kursk region, which Kyiv now holds about 7 billion square feet after an incursion that began last summer. Though the bulk of the North Korean troops have not yet seen action, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said they opened a new page of instability in the world while calling on his allies to assist in confronting this new threat. In addition to troops, North Korea has provided Russia 16,000 shipping containers full of artillery shells, rockets, and missiles since mid-2023, according to U.S. and South Korean officials, significantly altering the war's dynamics as it nears its 1,000-day mark. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
Apple is set to face the first ever fine under the European Union's new digital antitrust rules for big tech, according to Bloomberg, citing people familiar with the case. Antitrust authorities are preparing the penalty after the iPhone maker failed to allow app developers to steer users to cheaper deals and offers outside the App Store. The penalty, under the tough new Digital Markets Act, is set to come just months after Apple was hit with a 1.8 billion euros fine for similar abuses under the bloc's traditional competition rules. In contrast to traditional antitrust law, the DMA is designed to fend off anti-competitive acts before it is too late to prevent permanent damages to markets.